What's up, everybody? Andrew Schulz here. Akaash Singh here. Flagrant 2. No easy buckets. We got a very special guest on the line. Oof. I want to get right to it. He's, in my opinion, the most dominating boxer that I've ever seen. One of my favorite fighters to both watch and hear commentate about the sports, and by far the best rapper of any boxer that we've ever seen. Give it up right now for Roy Jones Jr., everybody. Roy Jones Jr. is on the podcast.
Thank you, guys, for having me.
Hey, man, this is an honor.
Yeah, I really want to just get your perspective on what's happening with boxing, you know, right now. Obviously, you saw the Fury-Wilder fight, I'm sure.
Yeah, I didn't see the whole fight, but I saw most of it.
And what'd you think?
Well, I thought Fury probably won the fight because Fury outboxed him. Although I can see how they come back and get Wilder points for the knockdowns, too, because those are 2-point rounds.
Right.
So I'd have to watch every round to judge it myself to see exactly how it went. But from what I saw, it looked to me like Fury still had the edge. But I have to watch every round for round before I can truthfully say it and mean it. I did know that Fury was going to be a problem for Wilder because Fury is a boxer. And
right.
like your dad told you about, or like Ali told your dad, it's about who's the scientist. I don't care how hard George Foreman punches. I don't care how hard Deontay Wilder punches. When you put a scientist in front of them, they got something to figure out. And hard punching ain't the answer to everything.
Right.
So you got a scientist, a hard puncher, that's not going to really give you any edge because you're a hard puncher, because that scientist deals and dissects hard punchers. And that's what he did to Wilder, from what I saw, and that's exactly what Ali did to George, and that's kind of what I did to James Hunter. However, James Hunter was somewhat of a scientist himself. He just didn't understand it as deep as I did.
Yeah,
so he was a scientist with a hard punch, but I was a deeper scientist.
Yeah, it was something that I would watch earlier, especially earlier in your career, and this is maybe something you could speak on for the casual boxing fan. You know, you hear about counterpunching, but I don't think the average fan knows how deep it goes. Like you are looking for little ticks. When you're timing someone, you're not just reacting to a punch. You know they're throwing that punch almost before they throw it. Is that right?
Before they throw it. Before they throw it. And a lot of times I would do things to force you to throw that punch so I can counter.
Like for example, what?
In a no-win situation, because I do something to you to make you stick your hand out there and see it counter you, because you never knew I was going to counter, and you never realized that the reason you threw that punch is because I forced you to. So it's like I played with people. I made them do things that they didn't know they was doing, but I knew they were doing because I made them do it. And then I counter what I make you do.
Oh, my Lord. So you're not just reacting. You're forcing the action.
Exactly.
Got you.
That's the difference in a real boxer and just a fighter. A fighter just kind of reacts to what happens. That's what so many of these kids do today. That's why strength and conditioning has become so prevalent in boxing, because most people are just reactors. So if you're in a better shape and you're strong and you're good at reacting, you're going to outlast your opponent, or you're going to beat him first because you're a better reactor. Me, on the other hand, I didn't need strength and conditioning because I had technique and knowledge. With technique, I knew how to throw my punches properly, and with the knowledge, I knew how to do things to force you into a no-win situation. It's like playing checkers and chess. The object of checkers and chess is to force your opponent into maneuvers that he does not want to make. And when you make him make those maneuvers, you put him in checkmate, or you take all of his men. That's the whole goal of boxing, not strength and conditioning, mental strength, mental knowledge along with a little conditioning. That's what dominates boxing, not strength and conditioning. Strength without knowledge is useless.
Right.
Unless the other fighter has no knowledge, then it's very useful.
Now, what about, is Wilder a good example of someone who is amazing strength and conditioning, great power?
But not a good scientist at all. He's a perfect example of that, which is why a person like Tyson Fury was able to last 12 rounds with him. If you think about it, and here's to put it in perspective, Tyson Fury was knocked down by a guy who none of us really consider a real puncher, and we also consider a true cruiserweight, by the name of Steve Cunningham.
Yes.
Steve Cunningham dropped Fury. Steve Cunningham is not known as a puncher, and Steve Cunningham is at best a cruiserweight, and he dropped Fury. So if you put that and say, okay, well, when we put Tyson Fury in the ring with a heavyweight, which, really, to be honest with you, Wilder could be a cruiserweight too, but Wilder is a super puncher, as we all know.
Right.
So to put him in there with a super puncher, how does this guy that's not known as a puncher knock him down, and this super puncher don't take him out? Because the super puncher is not a scientist. He relies on his punching power to get him back, and that's why Fury was able to survive.
Who do you think wins the rematch?
If it don't change trainers, Fury gonna win the rematch. Because if he don't have no more game than he got, Fury already knows about the punches, which he knew in the first place. Fury already got Wilder highly figured out. The person that was surprised in that fight was Deontay Wilder, not Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury knew exactly what he was up against and knew exactly how to deal with it. So now, can Wilder make the adjustments and become a better fighter between now and the next fight, or does he take the same Wilder with the same game plan, because that same Wilder is not going to beat Fury?
How realistic is it that a fighter in his 30s can completely change his style?
It's very realistic. You saw Pacquiao do it later in his career because Freddie Roach added some dimensions to him. But you saw Freddie Roach also add those dimensions to, what's the Puerto Rican kid?
Cotto. Cotto. Miguel Cotto, yeah.
Yeah, you saw Freddie Roach also add dimensions back to Cotto. Now, the bad thing about those, the difference in them two, though, was he woke up skills that they already had. He just had to wake them up. For Wilder, I don't know that he already has these skills. So Wilder has to go through a whole learning stage in order to be able to improve, which I don't think he'll do. So I don't see how he'll come back and beat Fury because he's never learned those things that Freddie Roach was able to wake back up in those guys. So it's a difference in waking it back up and not having ever learned it. Wilder has never learned it.
Right.